We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song and the seasons are all gone. Or are they? Welcome to dinner party tonight. So today we're going to make a summer seafood boil. Oh yeah, the one you dump out on the newspaper. I've never done it before. Let's see what happens. And then we're gonna make a plum galette. I personally love plums. A good plum is hard to beat. I found these amazing little plums, aren't they so cool? We're gonna make a plum galette 2 times. One with normal pastry and one with puff pastry. Plum galette. It's the best a man can get. Nick made up that one, don't blame me. What's that sound? There's construction next door, so you're gonna hear some thumping and banging, possibly, throughout the entire episode. Also, I spilled on my apron. Even though everybody wanted me to change it to another apron, I insisted on wearing the apron with the stain of my green drink that I drink every morning. So we're going to make a galette. What's a galette? A galette is essentially a very, very easy pie. It's a good pie if you are not super skilled at pies. So what you do is you just make a big, big circle, you put the filling in, and then you sort of fold over the sides, and you see the fruit in the middle. It's rustic, and it's quite delicious. Hopefully ours will be. Now, Linny wants me to make a crust for you guys, even though I'm fairly sure we've done it several times. If you would like to see me make crust, continue watching. If you don't want to see me make pastry, fast forward. First thing you're going to do is put in about 1.25 cups of flour. As I've always told you, people want to tell you, oh, I can cook, but I can't bake. You can bake. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar, like this, kind of. This is essentially pâté sucre, or pâté brisé. I'm going to put some salt. You can put lemon zest in here if you want. I'm gonna pulse this. You can do this, guys. Now, I freeze my butter. You don't want it to be like a softened butter paste. You need it to hold together when you're making it, trust me. So I throw a stick of butter in the freezer. This is plus gras. It's my favorite. I'm using, of course, my Parusi. I'm gonna do this relatively fast because I don't want it to melt. I'm cutting it into little squares. I mean, I worked in a bakery, and the last thing I did was set the puff pastry at night. They had a big roller. You take this big roller, you roll the pastry through, you put these flat slabs of butter on it, fold it and roll it through. Flat slabs of butter, fold it, roll it through. Every time you fold it, you get a lamination, like when you eat a croissant and it has multiple layers. Unlike those bread croissants that people eat, I don't know what those are. It's supposed to be made out of puff pastry. These are good. I'm gonna sprinkle them evenly around, like that. I'm gonna pulse this, and it's gonna spew. See the spew? Now I'm looking at the consistency until the only thing I can see are really small pieces. Pea-sized, like my brain. I'm just gonna crack an egg in here. All right, here we go. Ice cold water. You don't want to melt the butter. You want to do this incrementally. You're going to look at it. What is it doing? Uh-oh, it needs a little bit more. All right, now I think it's too wet. How do you fix it? Put a little flour in. You know, if it doesn't work, start again. You want it to make a perfect ball like this and go around. Now that's pastry. See that? That's pastry. Perfection Incorporated. Take some saran wrap like this. This has to rest in the fridge for at least an hour, I would say. Take out your bowl, darling. Break it in two. Kind of roll it. Don't knead it. Make it into almost a circle. Then you're going to fold this over like this. You're going to smooth out any cracks or folds. Trust me, this works. It's all so beautiful. Okay, that goes in the fridge. Perfection. Now I'm going to go and get the magic of television one. We are now going to roll out this, which I forgot to take out, so it's quite cold, but I think it's going to be okay. Don't do this unless it's still wrapped in the saran wrap. A little bit of flour. You don't want big pieces of raw flour. It's actually a very nice piece of pastry, Randall. So now I can start going 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Pick it up, make sure it's not sticking. You want it to be slightly thin, but not too thin, because if it's too thin, it will break. And remember, it's a rustic pie, you know, so it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. If you want to, you can cut a circle out, okay? Parchment paper. That's going to be our beautiful galette. It's imperative that this go in the fridge for about 20 minutes because it's soft. I am now going to try the one with puff pastry. Now, if we decided not to use this, you'll never see this. If it worked, you're seeing it. Okay, this is still kind of frozen. In other words, completely frozen. But I'm thinking I can roll it. So I'm kind of fixing these little cracks. The rolling pin is going to warm it. I wonder, should we make a square galette? It certainly makes my job easier. So I'm going to put the ugly side up. So when we fold it over, it's the attractive side. Into the fridge. Okay, let's make the filling. They want a 1/4 cup, which means some sugar. So some sugar. So 3 tablespoons is about 1/8 of a cup of almond flour, ground almonds. The other word for that is almond flour. 2, 3. This is Jacques Pepin's recipe, which means it's going to work. 3 tablespoons of flour. There's a movie coming out called Janet Planet. They use one of my top probably 15 songs in the entire world by the inexplicably forgotten Roaches. Everybody is buying the song on Spotify. It's like when Kate Bush did Running Up That Hill for Altered States. What's it called?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. The song is called The Hammond Song. Give it a listen. It's kind of a masterpiece.
If you go down to Hammond.
Produced by Robert Fripp, the great guitarist from King Crimson, which brings me to this topic. You don't have to like King Crimson, but just take a listen to the record Discipline, okay? It's a red record. I know it's art rock or whatever you want to call it. It was huge in my college in the 70s. Just take a listen to that record. It's pretty magnificent. I'm just mashing the lumps of almond flour. Okay, a little mysterious, but trust Pepin, he's the bomb. Now we're gonna cut plum wedges. Now I've washed these, obviously. I have these plums. I have to eat a little bit of one to make sure I like the plum. Come on. There you go. Ooh. Sweet as candy. That's the thing about summer. If you can't cook in the summer, I can't help you. It's like all you gotta do is put it in the oven or put salt and pepper on it. Everything is magnificent, especially in August. That is some delicious plum. Try to do this without destroying your slices. I might have to eat this one. Suzy Roach went into the Wooster Group, probably the most famous experimental theater in New York. And I was seeing a play there and I was like, is that Suzy Roach? Like I was blown away, and of course it was her. But I would say that record cover, which I'm sure Nick has shown you at this point, I've been looking for those pants on the right there about 40 years. I've been looking for those trousers. I'm gonna go get my pastry now, okay? I'm excited. This could be really good, you guys. I'm gonna spread this mixture we made, which I'm gonna put a little salt into, in the center of the galette. This is gonna be delicious, prediction. So we're gonna make this one casual. We're just gonna kind of pile up fruit in the center. And for the puff pastry one, we're gonna try to do a more Pepin-esque thing, okay? So I'm just putting fruit in a layer, but not designed, just like this. I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon juice on first. And you could make any galette you want. You could make a pear galette. You could make you don't want something too runny. Like peach, you might have problems. It might go through it. I mean, this could go through it. It might be why he wants you to use the powder. Now I'm gonna sprinkle this sugar. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking maceration. I think this could be really good. I'm just gonna fold this up like this. Now look, how do you do this, right? It's rustic, remember that, okay? You just wanna make sure it's secure. I mean, come on, it's beautiful. Painting a little egg washy poo. It's also sticking it together. I'm gonna put this in the fridge just to firm up the pastry again before we put it in. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little sugar on this egg wash, which will make an extremely beautiful galette. I'm gonna run this under the egg wash that spilled because this can make it very difficult to get off. A little bit of sugar. All right, back in the fridge with you. Let's make the puff pastry one, which may or may not work. We've had sort of bad luck with puff pastry. Cubist pig on a raft. But we're gonna try again. We're gonna make this one a little more eleganza. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the middle. And I'm gonna spread it out everywhere that we're putting plums. Okay, here we go. Dun 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 dun. I'm gonna separate these a little bit. So I'm doing this carefully so that in case we run out, but I'm gonna go back again and fill in the gaps. We fill it up with a little piece like that and a little piece like that. I'm gonna use a tiny bit of lemon juice, just in pooty poo. Sprinkle sugar on it, you know, like this. They're gonna slightly macerate. All right, I'm going to fold this. I don't know, guys. I think we might be onto something here. If it sticks together. Okay, I'm kind of pinching this in, paint this and seal it. Sealed with a kiss. Clean the edges. Spread some more sugar on the outer rim. Okay, back in the fridge for you. Here we go. Good luck, little galette. Don't worry, no one will hit you with a mallet. 400 oven for 1 hour, QM, but we'll see. Here comes the puff pastry one. Here comes the puff pastry one. Don't worry, we won't be done until we're done with the puff pastry one. Definitely not 1 hour for the puff pastry one. All right, galettes. It's kismet. Voilà, comme ça. Looks pretty good. Oh, look at it moving. Oh, this is holiday worthy. You know, this is the first time I made this. I think it's pretty good. You can serve these warm, but not hot. It's gonna settle and become like more of itself. And then you can serve it with a little vanilla ice cream, which Mr. Pepin tells you to dump right on top of it, which is fabulous, but it means you have to eat the whole galette. The galettes have met their end. We did one according to Mr. Pepin, which is absolutely freaking flawless. And then I tried an experiment with puff pastry. So here's the deal. It's going to be fine, but we cooked it at a very high temperature, almost 400, okay, which cooked this guy beautifully. But what happened was the puff pastry began to catch a little bit, and I had to take it out, and the bottom didn't. The bottom's a little bit soft. It shouldn't be like that. But this one is perfect, and this one will be delicious. It's just not fully cooked. For the puff, I would bring it down to like 380 and just cook it a little bit longer. Plum galette. Pretty nice dessert. Now, let's make a seafood burl or boil. So a seafood boil is a lot of delicious, beautifully seasoned seafood, corn, potatoes, and traditionally, you come to a newspaper draped table and you throw the boil. And then people just, with their forks, so they take the lobster tail, you know, and everything has been just simmering in this incredible broth. And it's a celebratory thing. It's for a number of people. You could do it for a small amount of people, but then you'd be going like this and it would be slightly weird. Incidentally, America, this is what we call a newspaper. This is a newspaper. It's a physical object. But anyways, traditionally you dump it out on paper. We're going to do a New England style seafood boil or burl. And what does that contain? Well, it contains an incredible broth, Old Bay seasoning, which is divine, potatoes, clams, my addition of a few mussels, lobster, sausage, and scrimps. Serve it with a Modelo, some beer, some crisp white wine on a sunny day, not a blistering devil's anvil, which is what we have outside today, but on a beautiful summer evening. All right, so let's talk about cooking times. Now, you know, if you've cooked any seafood or corn or potatoes, how long those things take. So you want to think to yourself the order that you're putting things in, okay? The broth should get really nasty and before you put anything in it. The lobster-sized tail that I have takes about 11 minutes. Now, potatoes take 9 minutes. These are incredible small potatoes by this amazing company. They're also power washed, which is so great. We're gonna color the sausage a little bit. I'm actually gonna add that at the very end after we've drained it. Mussels and clams, 3 minutes. I mean, this is fast once it gets going. Shrimp is 2 minutes. Corn, which I would break, we're making a slightly small one. I would break this in half and I would drop this in the water for the last minute and just turn it off. You'll see, we'll do it together. And you can do it with me and pause if you want. To be straight with you, I would probably, if I was doing this for somebody really fancy, I would probably do them in separate pots, which is cheating. And then I would put them in the one pot and dump it out. I know you can use kielbasa, which is this. You can use smoked sausage, you can use Italian sausage, which is not cooked. The convenience of this is that it's cooked and it's really big. So you can cut these like wedges of it. It's divine. This is pretty traditional kielbasa. What's in the broth? Nastiness. Okay? Lemons, salt, spices, chili peppers, garlic, shallots, bay leaves, Old Bay seasoning. Now, we're gonna use this pot. Now, I just wanna share a secret with you. This is really easy, and it's quite dramatic, okay? So if you wanted to, and you could get your hands on good product, you could do this for Christmas and just maybe dump it in a huge serving thing before you bring it out, okay? This has the convenience of that. It's a pasta pot for like 8,000 people. So I'm also thinking about how much water goes in here and how many things we can actually fit in here. So you have to use your brain a little bit, all right? It's fun. We're gonna do it together. Don't get all roiled. Just do a seafood boil. All right, we're gonna make our nasty, nasty broth that's gonna permeate everything with spicy yumminess. Just wanna talk about Old Bay, which they have inexplicably put into a plastic container now. This stuff is amazing. Just to tell you what's in it, celery salt, spices with red pepper and black pepper, and paprika. That's it. Ooh, it already smells like a clam bake. We're gonna use some lemongrass, fancy. Peel off a great deal of the lemongrass. So I'm gonna cut fairly big rounds, because it's for flavoring, right? And I'm not gonna chop them into little pieces. It's the wrong knife, but it's okay. And then we're just gonna throw this in and let it literally boil. I'm gonna put some fresh herbs in there. Whoops, so that's a little fibrous, which means we didn't peel it enough. Hold on, here we go. Voila, comme ça. We're going to slice some shallots big. Big rounds, this is for flavor. Big wedges. Cut the bottom of the garlic and then slice it in two. Just remember it's in there when you're eating it. One more shallot. I'm gonna use a lime and a lemon, even though they want you to use just a lemon. I think this is fabulous. Now, these take up a lot of room, so I'm actually gonna put in slices of this. And I'm gonna use this for juice. So here's our sausage, Polish kielbasa. I'm gonna cut this in like big pieces, like this. Try to cut it on an angle because it's more like traditional kind of. That's it. I'm now gonna move this whole operation to the stove. So we're just going to put a little color and depth on the sausage. A little bit of olive oil, and while that's heating up, I'm just gonna show you, I took some basil, parsley, and oregano from my garden, and I'm just gonna make it into a little bouquet garni like this. I also went into the garden and took some hot peppers and a jalapeno. Took the seeds out. Shallots, the lemongrass, and the garlic into the water. I should have put this in a bowl. Ooh, that's hot now. We're just starting the process of water. That's water, that's all. I'm gonna put these lemon slices in, more shallots, bouquet garni, pepper. Oh boy. I'm actually gonna quarter these so that they don't take up so much space. Okay, I'm gonna put the sausage. It's smoked, so I'm not going to season it too much. It smells like Yankee Stadium. That's what I'm smelling. I'm just coloring this, okay? Some seafood boils use beer, I forgot that. We can put a little beer in there. Well, those are all near beers, so we won't be doing that. You could put a little white wine in there. Or you could always remember the dinner party tonight rule. A little vermouth never hurt anybody. Okay, Old Bay. Now you want this to permeate your dish. You want it to really flavor that broth. Don't forget you're draining it. I'm just gonna taste this to see if it needs more Old Bay. Needs salt. So this is the main flavor for your whole thing, remember? Ooh, it's getting good. Bay leaf, we'll put in 3. Buy fresh bay leaves and you'll remember what they are. They add an incredible flavor, bay leaves. I'm gonna throw some red peppercorns in there. These will soften. Now, you could just boil some water and do this, but you want the water to permeate your dish, right? Why not flavor it? However, you could serve this with a little dish of Old Bay if you don't want to go to this trouble, but I mean, is this really trouble? Oh, it's so good, you guys. I think I'm ready to start broiling the seafood. So we're not going to use that many potatoes because I bought 4 lobster tails and we sort of have to cook them. So we're not going to take up a lot of space with potatoes, but it's okay. I have my timer set for 11 minutes. I'm putting the lobsters in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm starting the timer. In 2 minutes, I'm going to put in the potatoes. Why aren't we doing this more? 1 minute till potatoes. That many potatoes? Okay, here we go. Potatoes in. It's exciting. The juices from the lobster are coloring the broth. Wow, that's fabulous. Okay, at 5 minutes to go, I might put the clams in. They might get a little tough, but they're kind of big. So I'm gonna give them a little extra time. Okay, clams in. Clams in. Poor little fellers, they're alive, you know. Yeah, not anymore. Many people online said don't skimp on clams because they bring a very strong, delicious flavor. Even if nobody eats them, don't skimp on them. I'm gonna put some mussels in. Wow, this looks magnificent. Does it not? It stops boiling when you add things, just keep an eye on it. You can have guests here. If everything is mise en place, you can have guests here when you do this. It's kind of chic. Okay, I'm gonna put the shrimps in. I want it to go back to a full boil. I would suggest serving it with a bowl of the juice, the broth. Try to strain it if you have a minute. We have the luxury of pulling this out, which is quite easy. If you want to retain that, you could reduce it a little bit too if you wanted to. Clams are fully open. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I'm putting the corn in and I'm turning off the heat. Corns go in, heat goes off. Don't boil it. You guys. All right, here we go. Seafood boil. Ooh, it's quite heavy. I'm just gonna pick it up. And now I'm just gonna ladle some of the sauce into here, and I'm gonna reduce this a little bit. I'm gonna boil the hell out of this. So today we made a seafood boil. What a celebration, look at that. Lobster, potatoes, beautiful clams and mussels, corn, shrimp, and a broth to beat the band. I don't know how you top that. We also made a beautiful plum galette. I would suggest using a regular pâté brisé or sucré as opposed to puff pastry. I think it works better the way Mr. Pepin tells you to do it. Plum galette. All right, everybody, come on in. Why not, right? This is your plate. You can give them paper plates if you want, but really, this is the plate. Oh, a little kielbasa for the gentleman. Dip it in the dipping sauce, guys. Corn is perfect. Today we made a beautiful seafood boil, which frankly was pretty easy. And I think I could get even better at that and do it quite frequently. What do you think?
I don't know how you get better than this one.
Oh, that's sweet. Cheers to you guys. Don't clink or we all have to clink.
Seafood boil.
To dinner party tonight, seafood boil and plum galette.
Here.
Don't let up. Keep on swimming. So life is a series of weather patterns. We just sat outside with the newspaper and had a seafood boil, which we don't usually get to do with my crew and the show. It was wonderful. And those moments are like diamonds that you get in your life. And Aunt Mary had a lot of diamonds and a lot of really, really hard challenges to overcome. And she did overcome them. And she's sort of like a phoenix. And I got to see her the week before she died. We communicated a little bit. And she taught me a lot about seizing moments. So I want to raise my glass over my plum galette to Aunt Mary, who taught me how to roast a chicken and a lot of other stuff. I am going to serve this beautiful plum galette that we made to my friends and my crew. And I can't thank you guys enough for watching the show, for sending in questions. You don't have to do that. Please understand how much we appreciate you guys. Remember, you don't need a galette, you don't need a seafood boil. All you need is you, some good music, some nice scent, and maybe a bottle of wine, if they drink. They just want to see you, man. Don't be scared. Have a dinner party tonight. Incidentally, America, this is what we call a newspaper. This is a newspaper. It's a physical object. This is the New York Times, the paper of record. All the news that's fit to print. It's real. It's not on a screen. Try reading the newspaper.